So hello, welcome back. Not seen you for a few weeks, have I? And do you know what? There's two reasons for that. Firstly, weather. And secondly, there's actually been nothing much to do on the plot, to be honest. January, as you know, it's all a bit, quiet. So yes, we can do some of the infrastructure jobs and maintenance, things like that. But you know what? We've just had a massive Arctic blast for a week in the UK. And then it was followed by two storms. We had Storm Isha coming through, and then Storm Jocelyn just hit yesterday and is now moving away. So I've just come down to the plot to see if everything's okay, and everything's fine. The polytunnel's fine. There's a few nets blown off and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all good. But what I thought I could do is to have a little look round and see what's been going on, give you a little update, and tell you about a few plans that I've got for the new year, the new growing season. Okay, let's do an allium update then. First, onions and garlic. Right, that's my main garlic. Casablanca doing okay, and Russian Giant doing great, and some spares. And I've just got the tips. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the tips of the elephant garlic coming through. So that is good news. And then over this side, we've got radar onions doing great. And again, radar onions doing great. I think there's a couple of duds in there, but I have got a spare. I think I can get something there, so that's doing okay. Allium's all good. Brassicas, I've been harvesting some kale regularly and some kalettes. That's what's been sort of going outside, and it's been doing okay. The wind has battered them a little bit, but they've been okay. And then I've got 3 stalks of sprouts left, but they're very small, so I'm just going to see what happens with those. Let me turn the camera around and show you what I've got left growing outside brassica wise. And I have been harvesting this, so it's all good. There we go, there's my 3 stalks of Brussels sprouts left. You can say they're quite small, but I don't think they're going to probably get any bigger than that, so I might harvest them, clear that bed. Kalettes, battered by the wind, but I am still harvesting off these, and they are actually delicious. Some of these actual kalette sprouts are going really big, but just pull them off, and they're absolutely beautiful. Love them. Sort of the end of the curly kale there, but I chopped all these off at the top, and this might be a good tip for you guys if you're finding that these are grown too tall, even though they're supposed to be dwarf curly kale. I just find they do grow quite tall sometimes. If you chop the top out, just top them as you normally would with like a sprouts or kalettes or something, they do start to sprout little fresh nice new leaves as well where they've just been chopped off. And also, if I bring you around this side, you can see they start to sprout from the stem. So it's a little bit like, the little kalettes that form. And they are delicious. So they are still going. They're still going. They're still feeding me. My Cavallonero doing okay. Had a lot of pickings off this, so that is still going. Styrian tree cabbage, still okay. That's got plenty on it. And then I took the top out of my Taunton Dean kale, and as you can see, all these extra sprouts have come on the side, so I can harvest those. And I actually want to get a few of those a little bit bigger, so I can try and take some cuttings. So that's the plan for that. That's the perennial kale, Taunton Dean. Now, how is your little tiny garlic cloves doing? Did you join in? I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you where I'm at with it, because I planted most of mine in between the strawberries actually. They're all coming up, so we'll see what happens later on in the year. But yeah, sort of that's the last of my alliums. I planted them everywhere. Garlic is going to be coming out my ears, but do you know what? You can never have enough garlic. Let me know in the comments below if you're joining in how your little tiny garlic is doing. So, doing okay, all coming up, doing fine. A few little weeds trying there. Get rid of them. And then on this side, again, doing all right. So it all should be good. So what plans have you got for your new growing season? Is there anything you're going to be doing differently? Let me know. It'd be interesting to see what everyone's doing this season actually. If you're doing something different from last year or you're trying something new. I will let you know exactly what I'm doing now, what I'm thinking about doing. But you know what? It always changes, isn't it? That's it, gardening. We always change our mind and we have a good rethink. But I'll turn the camera around now and give you a rough idea of sort of my plans for the plot for the growing season ahead. So we've got some winter sun going on here now, so I'm going to try and keep the shadow out if I can, but it's a welcome change. It is windy, it's very windy, but you know what, temperature's increased. Anyway, enough talking about the weather. Now this was my squashes last year. Now this year this is going to be my potato bed, so this is going to be chopped and dropped, filled up with some farmyard manure and extra compost, so it's nice and rich. And this is going to be my potatoes. So I'm going to have 2 rows of potatoes there. I'm going to have all my main crop in here, and then I'm going to put the grow bags that I used last year. I'm going to have probably about 4 or 5 of these down this side, and that's going to be my first earlies, because they're going to be obviously the first ones to harvest. So they'll get out the way nice and quickly, hopefully, and then I'll give these room for these gorgeous dahlias to actually flourish, because they're going to go massive this year. And you can probably see the spring bulbs I've planted in between the dahlias are all starting to come up, so that is nice. Now in this brand new bed, I'm going to be putting my courgettes, I think. I'm going to try courgettes for the first time this year, because someone told me, I don't really like courgettes, but someone told me the yellow ones are nicer and they're sweeter. So that is the plan for that. So it's probably going to be courgettes and maybe a structure in the middle with some beans, but a couple of courgettes each side with a wigwam in the middle for some beans. And this is going to be my carrot and parsnip bed. So the top one is going to be all carrots, and I might even do extra carrots on the bottom here as well. Failing that, it's going to be parsnips, but I've got my parsnips going somewhere else. I'll show you where they're going to be going. Now this side is always going to be my brassicas, but my aim for this year is to get a walk-in brassica cage. So that is my plan. So this will go in this spot where these 4 beds are, where you see these 4 brassica beds. This is the plan. The brassica cage is going to be going into this side. So this will have a big rethink before the new kales and long-standing brassicas will go in for the new year. That is a nice plan for there. This is going to be probably maintain my perennial kales and things like that. We'll see, that's flexible. And then this is again brassicas, but this is going to be my cabbages and cauliflowers. So normally I'd do 2 of these beds to cabbages and cauliflowers, and the ones that are opposite each other here. I'll turn it around now and show you. But I've decided, do you know what, I actually don't need all these cabbages coming at the one time. There's only me, and I end up just giving them away the whole time. So I'm going to focus more on my kales. I can get all the greens that I need from my kales actually. I'm still going to be doing some cabbages and more cauliflowers, because I can blanch and freeze those. But the extra bed on this side, I'll show you now, I'm going to be using for something else. So this is basically exactly the same bed that's on this side here. Now this is now going to be, I've decided, is going to be parsnips, and loads of parsnips here, and swede, because I can just leave them for the rest of the year then, because they're just sort of in basically all year. I can sort of forget about them, and so that is the plan. That is the plan for that. So let me know what you think. Is that a good idea? Now my fruit and flower garden is not going to change position wise of what's obviously grown here. It's all perennial, so we'll see what happens. I have give the big apple tree, a good old prune again, because it had lots of new shoots from last year when I hard pruned it. And I put extra flowers in here, perennial flowers, because I took the raspberries out, remember? So I've got extra flowers in here, extra perennial, herbaceous perennials and dahlias. So this should be beautiful. But anyway, nothing much going on there. And let me have a little look this side. I'll turn the camera around and show you the other side of the plot and my plans for this side. Okay, so this is going to be peas, my pea structure pie. So loads of peas each side. I've got garlic in the front of the extra garlics. So peas each side there. And then once the peas are finished, I'm going to be putting my small squashes. So I'm thinking a cheeky curry and butternut squash. Probably the cheeky curry in here, and maybe put the butternut squash over this side to trail somewhere, maybe near the courgette, something like that. So that is that. The alliums, once they're out, I'm going to be using these for outdoor tomatoes. I'm going to be using for possibly sweet corn and possibly some leeks and celery. So these 4 with the nets on, they're all going to be, come June time, once these onions and garlic is harvested, these are all going to be turned into extra growing spaces. So my bean arch, I'm going to do exactly the same as I did last year. Greek gigantes on here, they were a big success. And in the base here, I've got some herbaceous perennials, some flowers. I'm going to put miniature sunflowers here again to get the pollinators drawn in and do a bit of a polyculture here. And these broad beans are like a green manure anyway, so I'm not too fussed about these. But what's going to go around the bottom again is my dwarf French beans again. I'm not doing any climbing French beans this year, not doing any runner beans, just my Greek gigantes, my borlotti beans for drying, and then these are going to be my green beans. So this is my other pea bed that I'm going to be doing. Peas, both sides. Once the peas are finished, again, I'm going to be putting some small squash there, probably a cheeky curry, so that's good. And obviously my dahlias and spring bulbs are going to be here. And then my archways, all I'm going to be focusing on is my new thornless blackberries that I've got on both arches. And that is the big focus of that. So that should give some nice flowers and hopefully some nice fruit. And that should take over the arches. That is the plan for that anyway. Shall we have a little look in the polytunnel? I think we should. So, plans for in here. These purple sprouting broccolis are looking super, super healthy. So we'll see what happens then. That's a little trial. So I'm going to keep them going as long as possible. That's the plan for in here. And then obviously this is all going to be tomatoes this side and tomatoes. This side, I think what's going to happen is probably in the next few weeks, I'm going to be clearing this out, maybe using some of these brassicas that haven't done so well outside, maybe use them outside. This one's quite nice. This kale, Black Magic Cavallero. But this is where I'm going to be setting my 2 rackings of, the staging, basically, for my seedlings. That's the plan for that. I've got my grapevine in the corner here, see how he's going to do this year. And my avocado, I don't think he has survived. But do you know what? We'll see. I'm going to leave it for now. And obviously those leaves are completely dead, but there might be some life left in the plant itself. It might start to resprout. We never know. Fingers crossed. It was a bit of an experiment, let's face it. So I hope that's given you an idea of what I'm going to be doing this growing season on the plot. I'm going to be doing a few little bits and pieces in my garden at home. I'll show you that in another video. But let me know what you're doing. Are you doing something different? Are you doing exactly the same? Be interested to see if you're doing anything exciting. Let me know. Time for a cup of coffee now, I think. I said January, not much to do on the plot at the moment. My name's Will, you have been watching The Flying Gardener.